Welcome back. So we're going to be talking about showing etiquette and just some rough guidelines and tips and tricks and maybe some requirements. Best practices, one might say.
Beautiful.
So when showing a property, we'll start with talking about buyers. You've requested a showing, you've shown up to the property. It is a normal industry practice to leave behind a business card just to let people know that you've actually been there.
Yeah.
I know showing time does notify the listing agents now, and you can even set it up so clients can see notifications and that kind of stuff. But it's still a nice practice just to be able to leave a card behind.
Yeah, and not every market uses showing time as well. So,
good point.
Yeah, if you are, Supra and Century Lock, like they have the notification options, letting know that someone's been in your property. So definitely, that's a good option. We'll let you kind of decide. It's not a necessity. But one of the things I want to touch on, because I've had this before, you pull up with a client looks at the property from the outside and says, nope, this is not going to work at all. I hate it. I hate the neighborhood. Walk in, walk up, open up the lockbox, get that notification, let them know you've been there, and that's it. Don't just drive off. I do like the standpoint of walking up and saying, hey, we booked the showing. Let's let them know that we opened the lockbox. And then you can tell the person we didn't go in because of whatever.
And that's the other thing, too. It is actually in CREB rules that even if your client shows up to the property and doesn't want to go in, you have to immediately notify the seller of that.
There you go.
So even if you don't want to do the lockbox thing, just let the listing agent know. Say, hey, we pulled up, wasn't the right property, so sorry. Carry
Perfect. On. I love, or something to think about is just a seller is super excited they have a showing.
Yeah.
They've cleaned the house. They might have spent like a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour prepping the house, packing up the kids, getting them out of the house. Maybe they have a neighbor or a friend taking a dog or something. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into this. To just not show up is probably the most heinous. Next to not locking doors or leaving doors open or something, but it's like that's a big problem.
And that this isn't something in our notes, but it reminded me of something. So if you've asked for a short notice to see a property, and they've gone through hoops to get you into this property, even if your clients decide they're not interested, go through the home.
Yeah.
Like your clients will benefit from a little bit of education and see what they do like and don't like, and then maybe just provide the feedback as a courtesy so they actually went through the effort to make it available to you. It goes both ways. So if they made that huge effort to get out of their home on a short notice period, then go through and give them some feedback.
Yeah, you're going to have sellers who go through the same process, and when a realtor doesn't show and they packed up everything, you're going to feel this. Really have empathy on this one to put yourself into their shoes.
Yeah, and that goes to the largest complaint that we hear about when it comes to showings is no-shows.
Yeah, notify. It happens. We know it happens. Everyone knows it happens.
So because of that, we've all been there. One thing I would suggest is instead of jumping to conclusions that this guy's a flake and he just didn't show up,
totally.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and reach out and see if they're okay. Maybe they had a car accident. Maybe a family emergency came up. Like, give them the benefit of the doubt. If there is a legitimate reason for not showing up, then maybe we can explain that to the seller. Yep. If there isn't, then we can report that to CREB, and if the agent is a repeat offender, then they'll take it into their hands. But let's give each other the benefit of the doubt on the no-shows. And
totally.
But as a buyer's agent, notify the listing agent if you can't make it at all.
Yeah. As a seller's agent, being out for blood right away as your first reaction is just not a good reaction in life. You're going to stress yourself out and jump to conclusions in many different areas. Okay, leave the property in the same state as you found it unless otherwise instructed. So, leave all the lights on. If the lights were on, there might be another showing come in.
Yeah.
Leave the lights on. That's it. If there's a sign that says, please turn all lights off, then obviously otherwise instructed. But, leave it in the same state as you found it.
Yeah. A couple key points on this. Bathroom breaks.
Yes.
Leave it as you found it.
That's right. That's right.
If the seat's down, put the seat down. If you've had a client that plugged the toilet, get the toilet unclogged.
That's right.
Unfortunately, that's part of a buyer's agent's responsibility. So we've got to make sure that you are leaving it as is and securing the property properly.
Absolutely. Lock all doors unless instructed otherwise. Sometimes there is a key that doesn't, or lock that doesn't open by any other key, and they literally have a sign saying don't lock this door, or lock only the deadbolt, or whatever else. So obviously follow that, but the default is lock up.
Yeah.
Everything. While your clients are getting their shoes on and stuff, go around, lock everything, double, triple check. If there's one thing that is, the worst is make sure all doors are closed, everything you've done, just lock up.
Yeah. I don't know how many times we've gotten the notification saying, I just dropped the key in between the deck boards.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah.
It's the buyer's agent's job. It's their job to make sure that the property is secure.
That's right.
So you lose the key, you're responsible to make sure that that property is secure and accessible for the next people.
That's exactly right.
It doesn't matter if you've got 5 other showings. That's your priority at that moment.
Yeah, you contact the seller, contact the seller's agent, get your locksmith, whatever it happens to be, get it sorted.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you can spare a few moments, try to leave feedback if requested. Now, this one, I know there's a lot of chatter, fiduciary duties, responsibilities, that kind of thing.
Totally.
Don't give feedback if you don't get clients' permission to do so. If you are giving feedback, you can say, this is my feedback, not my client's, and then you can do so. I kind of play around with this a little bit because if my clients are interested, the property is always too high and overpriced, and there's so many things wrong with it, and you're starting negotiations early. But,
that's right.
Feedback is definitely useful, and we do want to work together and collaborate. So.
Yeah, and just think, your sellers are going to want feedback when they do it. Just put yourselves on the flip side, right? Yeah. That's something else as well. Another thing here is you have to educate your clients. If you're looking at the cupboard doors in the kitchen, it's going to come with, you open up the cupboard, you do those things. You don't need to be looking through people's dresser, furniture drawers, things like that. Educate the clients, be respectful. Of course, you open closet doors, but if they have organizers, just be aware. Just don't get snoopy, okay? And keep the kids close.
You are responsible for whatever the kids do.
My gosh, we had an issue from the realtor. Was talking about the realtor's page. He's a friend of ours, and the client's kid went out the patio door and fell like 10 feet because there wasn't a railing piece in, and the kid went out there and fell, and so everyone's like, oh, that railing piece should have been in, and it's like, yes, 100%, but the kid, this 3-year-old, the parent let the 3-year-old run around the house.
Yeah.
It's like, you do not do that. You hold on to your kid. You don't know what unsafe stuff is there.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea. Like, the home inspector is going to tell you that this should have a railing or anything else like that. The kid fell 10 feet onto concrete.
Thankfully, he was okay.
He was okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that stuff. And when I was showing properties of families with kids, I mean, it's ideal if you can get them focused on the properties and the showings without bringing their kids along.
Yes.
I know that that's challenging. As a parent, I understand that. There was instances where I would actually bring somebody along to take care of the kids.
Yes.
So that the parents can actually focus. It's a big decision, and kids are very distracting.
Yeah, there's lots of 15-year-old kids or whatever that would pay them a little bit, and they can come in and kind of be a little nanny that rides in and stuff as well.
Yeah. A couple other things. Be ultra respectful of somebody's personal space, but we're also responsible for any theft that's happening. So both sides, keep an eye on people. You want to make sure that they're not necessarily helping themselves to something. To the sellers, make sure that they're putting away any valuables, and this should be done just in a general practice. And then the third part, there's different circumstances. There was one random one, but there was a white leather couch, and somebody was wearing a brand new pair of jeans.
Oh, yeah.
And they sat there for a while, and the blue jeans ended up staining the white couch. That was the buyer's agent's responsibility to take care of that after. So you got to be aware of anything and everything when you're showing these homes.
As a realtor too, we had a couple stories of, first of all, assume you're on camera all the time. Assume you're on camera. The other thing is that don't take, if there's snacks and stuff, we had one realtor that had all these mason jars full of popcorn and everything else like that, and all decorative stuff. And the realtor that went and showed the property went and took a bunch of them and ate them all.
Yeah. And
it's like, why would you do that? Just don't be an a-hole. Overall, just don't do that. I don't know why we're having this conversation, except just don't.
Yeah.
And I also just want to mention, we're not putting realtor safety as part of this. This is showing ethics and things like that. We're not talking about the etiquette, sorry. We're not talking about the safety side of this, but just, obviously if you have clients you don't know, there's a safety concerns, but just, this is, stuff that educate your clients on. Be super respectful, right?
There was one circumstance with an agent who's no longer with us. Walked into a property, was being recorded. He was previewing the home.
Yep.
Walked in like he owned the place. Threw his notes on the island. Opened the pantry. Found some Skittles. Like
Had a snack.
Had a snack. Checked out the fridge, and it sounds funny, but that seller was mad.
Oh my gosh.
And
Absolutely.
Should be. I mean, we're authorized to enter people's homes, and we need to treat that authorization with respect.
Yeah, if there's a pool table downstairs, and it's all staged, don't break it and like have a game of pool. Like,
Yeah.
just come on, you guys. Like, really? Also, if you go into the property and you see any concerns, share that.
Yeah.
Like, there's an issue. Like, there's a problem with, there's a leak. There's, whatever else. Maybe you got to the property and the toilet was clogged or something like that, or just whatever happens to be notified. Just, you'd want the same courtesy.
Let them know so that they can deal with it on their end. Like,
Yeah.
It's important.
Even if the sign is falling over or crooked, let the realtor know.
Yeah.
Like, come on, we're all in this together.
Yeah, agreed.
All right.
All right, on as the listing agent. We talked about educating the clients on prepping their houses for showing, putting valuables away, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One of the ways that I've heard this put, and it's my favorite way, is that as soon as the home is on the market, it's no longer a home, it's a product. And your clients have to treat it that way.
Yeah.
Selling a home is not convenient, and it's not fun, and they're going to be put out. But they have to have those expectations, and if they want to be able to get their property sold for highest and best.
Well, and think about the amount of, what the value of price reductions are on that home right now. And if the house is a mess, every time they go in, what is it? Is it $15,000? Is it $20,000 that someone is, kind of judging it in their mind? So if you were to say the home took 3 months to sell, that's $5,000 a month for 3 months. This has basically become a part-time job for the sellers of keeping their home in show-ready condition. They may need to spend, maybe it's 6 hours a week prepping their home and stuff. It's pretty good return when you put it back, but just having that home showing ready, if you look at it as a very monetary piece, you can get more compliance from sellers.
Providing access to the home. So there's actually a rule that you have to use a board-approved lockbox.
Yes.
So you can't be using builder lockboxes. You can't be using, if one board uses one lockbox and another board uses another kind of lockbox, you got to use that board's lockbox.
Yeah, and you need to be often members of the board to get those lockboxes.
Right.
And the systems don't always, anyways, the point is you got to make sure you're following those rules on there. Also, give clear instructions as to where the lockbox is.
Right.
As a seller, so the person isn't going to, I used to joke with my clients, like, hey, we're Easter egg hunt here.
Yeah, find the lockbox.
Lockbox. Yeah, exactly. Make sure it's super, super clear. Also, if you're the listing realtor, and especially with condominiums, and I know there's rules, and Krebs got the lock boxes, which are awesome, but not every building. Make sure it's in a safe, well-lit, easily accessible space, and in the winter time where it gets dark early, make sure your clients are leaving front lights on, things like that, in order to make sure that the realtor showing this property isn't scaling walls, knee-deep in the snow, on a slippery, icy slopes, or that they just have to go into an alley somewhere to get a freaking lockbox.
Yeah.
So.
And securing them, I know you mentioned that, but making sure that they are properly secured. If you have a lockbox on a chair on the front deck, it's not secure.
Or like a thin little tree branch. We've seen all of it. Yeah.
So make sure that even if you don't have someplace, not everybody wants it on the door, but maybe get a bike lock.
Yeah. A chain or something.
Yeah. Just something to be able to secure it properly.
Cool.
I'm talking about the conditional offer disclosures.
Yeah. Bunch of different opinions on this.
Yes.
Which is fine. I'm not going to get into it. You get to give your client advice, and your client gets to make the final decision. And we're talking about, do you disclose that there is a conditional offer? We have that disclosure instruction form. And at what point do you disclose if you choose to disclose?
Right.
And this might be market dependent. Right now, we have probably more offers falling through than normal.
Right.
I don't even know what normal is anymore, but let's just say there's more than there have been in the past. So backup offers could come to fruition. So, you might want to encourage more people to see the property.
Right.
My personal thing that I like giving them The second they book the showing, notifying them, and then telling them that they're still welcome to see the property if they want.
Yeah.
We have an accepted offer on it, and we'll keep your name, because now they've inquired, and we'll keep their name if the status changes.
I like that approach as well. That was my preferred, because then you get a list of agents, and if your deal collapses on the Friday, Saturday, I'm stacking those showings on each other.
That's right. And sometimes you even have like competing offers or, but.
Now, the biggest confusion we see about this conditional disclosure is when you're instructed not to disclose, you're required to do that whether or not it's conditionally sold or not.
Yes.
If it's active and somebody asks if it's sold, you have to answer, I cannot answer that question.
Yes.
I've
Even
been
if it's
instructed
active.
not to answer that question.
Otherwise, you've just absolutely disclosed.
Yeah.
By omission.
Being instructed not to disclose means whether or not it's active or conditionally sold, it's the same answer.
And I was just talking to some realtors the other day who they said that, you know, we like to disclose when the offer comes in, and that's what we advise our clients on. And hey, I don't care. I'm totally, whatever you choose, just think about also the thing that I like to think, what was your clients like?
Yeah.
You know, what was your clients like? And by being consistent here and in integrity, it makes the professionals in the industry look way better. Because when clients get railroaded and then find out the very, very last minute that there is another offer or they haven't been told and they wasted their time, our whole industry looks really, really bad.
Well, it looks bad, and then they want to put a complaint in, and then it's even more frustrating for them when there's processes that have been followed on the other side, and it's not a fun experience. So we're supposed to be creating memorable experiences for the good, not the bad.
If your board uses showing time or touch base or whatever showing system is available and is generally accepted, use it.
Yeah.
But know your features, because you can educate people in auto responses and things like that about, hey, take a look at the supplementary documents where we have these 3 things. Take a look at this document that's in the property. You'll notice this. If you have other instructions, make sure you're pointing to people to Matrix or whatever system you're using for extra information, or just help them out. Just be thorough, but use it for convenience if at all possible.
Access to the properties must be provided within 24 hours of request. So, and that's a board rule, and the boards have actually even been pushing back on foreclosures for this.
Nice.
So unless we have a court order stating that we cannot get access to the property, they're still required to provide access within 24 hours. So nobody's getting away with that one, where the courts are usually do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But we need to be able to provide access within 24 hours of
And if you
request.
can't, you can do a temporary withdrawal. There's options. Speak to your office manager about your options there.
Right.
You can't discriminate from anyone from seeing the property. For whatever reason, there's multiple things wrong with that. That's just anti-competitive, and that's competition law, and that's a federal offense, actually, just overall.
For no-shows, we talked about this, giving the benefit of the doubt. If there is not a legitimate reason, speak to your office manager. We can notify CREB, and just follow the proper processes, but give each other the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's gonna go back to our first discrimination one about the property, but see me in private regarding that. I have a thought that I use on that. Anyways, okay, so that's that. Any final thoughts on that, Steve?
No, I think we use your head, best judgment.
Put yourself in the other client's shoes.
Yeah. What's the platinum rule? Treat others how they want to be treated.
You got it.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, we're going to be back. We're going to talk about some of our satellite offices, the other real estate boards, and we're members of many of them. Steve has had many a course. Right after we look at some of our stats and a little business tip video here.